What happens when the most powerful person in the world doesn't form his policy decisions based on expert American intelligence, but instead lets his decisions be dictated by what he sees on cable TV and social media?
Political bear nation ready to dive, where opinions spark and the debates thrive. Hold on tight.
Hey guys, I'm Brown Chubby Bear, and this is Political Bear Nation. Today, we're revealing how Donald Trump's favorite shows have become his most influential advisors, and how that has impacted all of us. You're probably aware that Donald Trump recently sent troops to peaceful Portland because he watched a Fox News segment that combined current events with older footage from the 2020 George Floyd protests. He justified his decision by referencing television footage showing fires and chaos, even though that was not happening in Portland at all. Fox News has been guilty of manipulating their audience for years, but when your audience is the President of the United States, well, your lies directly affect American policy. Governor Tina Kotek confirmed that Trump cited television as his source, not intelligence briefings or any official reports. Trump said, "I spoke to the governor. She was very nice. But I said, well, wait a minute. Am I watching things on television that are different from what's happening?" When the governor told Trump what he was seeing was not true, he reportedly said, "I'm just telling you what I'm watching on TV." And this is not the first time it has happened. There was a study conducted in 2020 that explored the relationship between what Trump has posted on social media and what was aired on cable TV news. The study, which looked at a 3-week consecutive period in January of 2020, analyzed stories on Fox News, CNN, ABC, and NBC alongside hundreds of Trump's social media posts. The study found that nearly 48% of the time, Trump's social media posts repeatedly reflected the views and opinions of Fox News hosts. For comparison, Trump's posts only reflected what CNN, ABC, and NBC reporting just 12% of the time. What's more concerning is that the constant back and forth between the president and Fox News created a feedback loop that journalists have named the Trump-Fox feedback loop. Here's how it works. First, Trump sees a story on Fox News that captures his attention. He often responds on social media to address the topic, but sometimes he makes a decision based solely on what Fox News is showing him on TV. Then, Fox News reacts to Trump's actions, almost always covering them positively. This then reinforces his behavior, encouraging him to continue this pattern of watching the network and making policy decisions that affect us all. This means that nearly every presidential decision, from national security to trade deals, is based on what a TV host said in a segment just minutes before. Don't believe me? In 2018, Fox News repeatedly framed illegal immigration as a crisis, emphasizing border threats and crime. Trump echoed these concerns, rapidly advancing family separation policies and calling for increased border enforcement. Many of these posts were made within minutes after a Fox News segment highlighted these issues. In 2020, right when COVID was starting to hit, Fox News had Dr. Oz on frequently to discuss the potential benefits of hydroxychloroquine. Trump publicly recommended the drug, overruling health agencies because that's what he heard on Fox News. And do you know where Dr. Oz is today? He works for the Trump administration to deliver Medicare to some of the most vulnerable Americans in the country. This is a man that once was a respected heart surgeon, but fell in love with the media so much that he stopped respecting science and started catering to his viewers. He then began taking advantage of his viewers by promoting medical products he had a financial stake in without disclosing that he was making money off of their purchases. In 2018, O'Reilly talked about Chicago crime statistics, and just 2 minutes later, Trump posted that the feds should be sent to Chicago, and now he has actually sent the military to Chicago. In another Fox and Friends segment, the host called Chelsea Manning an ungrateful traitor, and Trump repeated those exact words verbatim on social media. Trump's immigration and zero-tolerance policy was completely shaped by Fox News starting all the way back to 2017. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, they repeatedly framed illegal immigration as a crisis and an invasion, Trump started to use the exact same words he heard on Fox News. This led to the implementation of Trump's zero-tolerance policy in April of 2018. And remember I told you about the loop? Well, this isn't just a parasocial relationship. This is a symbiotic relationship. Brian Kilmeade of Fox and Friends explicitly defended family separation, arguing immigrant children aren't our kids, when people complained about seeing children as young as 4 years old being jailed as criminals. And let's not forget that at least 23 former Fox News employees now work for the Trump administration in high-ranking positions. Pete Hegseth, one of the hosts of Fox and Friends Weekend, has now taken over the Pentagon. This is a man that settled a sexual abuse complaint for $50,000 after the police failed to charge him with the crime. Yes, she went to the police, and before anyone in the comments complains that she must have been lying and just looking for money, keep in mind only 5% of reported sexual abuse cases end up with an arrest. Hegseth told the police that the incident was completely consensual. Mind you, this happened while he was still married to his second wife and had recently had a child with another woman. Hegseth has been married a total of 3 times and has 7 children with 3 different women. And that's not all. From his time as CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, which was funded by the conservative Koch brothers network, there were allegations that he stole money, got drunk at official events, and even more allegations of sexual abuse. He got so drunk at one event that he had to be physically restrained at a Louisiana strip club. This is who leads the Pentagon. Do you feel safe? Dan Bongino now serves as the deputy director of the FBI. He left Fox News in 2023 because he was promoting right-wing conspiracy theories that were too much for even Fox News to air. On his podcast, he constantly pushed the unfounded conspiracy theory that the January 6th pipe bombs that were found were an inside job.
And yet we still can't figure out where the Secret Service texts are from that day. They seem to have disappeared about the pipe bomb incident on January 6th. Strange. Where's the cell phone data for the cell phone, the cell phone the pipe bomber was using on January 6th? Oh, the company says the data is corrupted. Yeah, that's right. They can't seem to find it. How many feds were at the rally, January 6th rally? How many feds were there? Why does everyone keep wavering on this question? Just answer the freaking question, brother. You're under oath. There is going to be, if you are a reasonable person, zero doubt that the National Guard was withheld and kept back and told to stand down, and no one's told us the reason yet. Did they want this to happen?
And that the FBI became a Gestapo leg of the Democratic Party. He even said the entire FBI should be disbanded entirely. Yes, the entire organization. The guy that once preached to his audience that the entire FBI could not be trusted and should be disbanded is now second in command of running the very law enforcement agency he wanted to get rid of. Sean Duffy is the current Secretary of Transportation and co-host of the Fox Business program, The Bottom Line. But as a congressman, he represented Wisconsin, and he said poor people don't struggle like the rich do. Are you kidding me? His wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, also works at Fox News, and she got her start on MTV's Real World San Francisco. Together, they fraudulently obtained primary residence mortgages for their New Jersey home and their Washington, D.C. home. Now, the Trump administration has weaponized the DOJ against Senator Adam Schiff of California and New York Attorney General Letitia James by claiming they have fraudulently named more than one primary residence in their loan documents. Yet, Secretary Sean Duffy, Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton all have been accused of doing the exact same thing, but the Department of Justice is only focused on Trump's political opponents. And by the way, there has been no evidence found that either Adam Schiff or Letitia James lied on their mortgage documents, despite Trump's efforts trying to pin something on them, anything, as Newsmax has convinced him to do, which we'll get to in just a moment. Tom Homan is the border czar, who was recently outed for taking a $50,000 cash bribe from undercover FBI agents last September, was a longtime Fox contributor dating back to 2018. Homan, who promoted anti-immigration policies on Fox News like the zero-tolerance measure discussed earlier, promised government contracts to feed immigrant detainees in exchange for the money that he received. He thought he was talking to representatives of the Dallas restaurant chain Cava. Trump's DOJ closed the investigation. Fox News host Mark Levin serves on the Homeland Security Advisory Council and has long spread the lie that the 2020 election was stolen by President Joe Biden and the Democratic Party.
If you're not required to have a postmark or a signature that matches another signature, in fact, you could have voted after Election Day, couldn't you?
You sure could, and it would be very easy if you can pick up absentee ballots that have not been voted by voters, which happens all the time, to submit fraudulent ballots.
But if you thought that Trump being manipulated by right-wing media was unique to Fox News, you'd be wrong. The president is easily manipulated. After Fox News called the election for President Joe Biden, Trump shifted heavily towards Newsmax and OANN, which continued promoting election fraud claims much longer than Fox News did. Because of this, Trump started to promote their programming instead. These are networks that are to the right of Fox News. Because Trump started promoting them, Republican members of Congress felt they had to accept interview requests from these outlets. This, in turn, helped these right-wing outlets gain credibility and popularity among conservatives. These right-wing outlets complete the feedback loop, just like Fox News did, by informally advising Trump on what to do on immigration, border security, and aggressively pushed him to find out ways to arrest and prosecute his political opponents. The founder and CEO of Newsmax is Christopher Ruddy. He considers himself to be a libertarian conservative, and he opposed the Iraq War, but he also accepted a $50 million investment from a member of Qatar's royal family in 2019. Remember that Qatar also gave Trump a luxury $400 million Boeing 747. Qatar also hosts the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East with 10,000 American personnel. So why is Qatar trying to influence Donald Trump so much? Well, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, and Egypt do not get along with Qatar because Qatar houses and gives financial support to extremist terrorist groups, including the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and Al-Qaeda. They all accuse Qatar of interfering in the internal affairs of their own countries, and they complain that Qatar undermines Gulf unity by cooperating with Iran, Saudi Arabia's main regional rival. While most Middle Eastern countries have largely stopped supporting extremist groups, Qatar has not. Trump himself even said so the day after the blockade.
Unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. We have to stop the funding of terrorism.
What's the blockade? On June 5, 2017, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, and Egypt cut diplomatic ties with Qatar and imposed a blockade, closing land, air, and sea borders to Qatar. They issued a list of 13 demands, including shutting down Al Jazeera, curbing relations with Iran, and closing a Turkish military base as preconditions for lifting the blockade. Qatar refused. In addition to Qatar's own ideological goals, they have a practical reason to continue working with Iran. The two countries share the world's largest natural gas field, the South Pars North Dome, and because of this, it requires them to work with Iran for extraction and resource management. Despite political pressure from the United States, the rest of the world, as well as their own regional neighbors like Saudi Arabia, Qatar has continued to work with Iran on joint energy ventures and regular trade, including sending construction materials like cement, steel, aluminum, as well as providing consumer products which directly negate the sanctions that the world has placed on Iran, including the sanctions Donald Trump has put on Iran himself. So Qatar needs our protection and wants the United States to fight on their behalf should a regional war break out, despite their continued support of extremist terrorist groups and their financial and economic support of Iran. Besides funding Newsmax and giving Trump a $400 million plane, they also have people on the inside. Attorney General Pam Bondi made over $100,000 a month lobbying for Qatar. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, received $600 million in direct investments from Qatar's sovereign wealth fund. Trump's son, Eric, is developing a new golf resort in Doha, Qatar. The Trump Organization has a formal agreement with Dar Global, an international real estate company in Qatar. And they're doing all of this to become so important to Donald Trump that their regional rivals never try to attack them again. But if they are attacked, they will expect unconditional support from Donald Trump. Donald Trump is easily manipulated. At the same time he is telling you that his mass deportation plan will save American lives, he is directly assisting Qatar, who is supporting multiple terrorist organizations that wish to do harm to the United States. And I wish I could tell you that this is as far as manipulating Donald Trump goes, but that's just not true. Trump doesn't just trust conservative far-right outlets or countries he once called a harbor of terrorism. He has put his trust in nut jobs like Laura Loomer, who has said 9/11 was an inside job and that Donald Rumsfeld was involved in orchestrating the cover-up. Laura Loomer's pressure campaigns have contributed to at least 15 firings or withdrawn nominations across 6 federal agencies. Earlier this year, Loomer fired off a lengthy ex-post targeting a senior Customs and Border Protection official, accusing him of having anti-Trump and pro-open border policy leanings. Less than 48 hours later, the official, Monte Hawkins, was fired. Her insane beliefs are shaping the Trump administration and changing American policy, and I cannot stress enough how batshit crazy this person is. She thinks the Parkland school shooting was staged and that crisis actors were used. She's also a racist piece of shit.
She wrote, quote, "If Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry, and the White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center."
Before Elon Musk bought Twitter and renamed it X, she was kicked off the platform for anti-Muslim rhetoric and her constant targeting of Representative Ilhan Omar. This is a person that has direct access to the president and demands 100% loyalty to Donald Trump from everyone that works with the president. Loomer recently called the CEO of Microsoft two-faced because Lisa Monaco, Microsoft's president of global affairs, used to be Joe Biden's deputy attorney general. Her craziness isn't even consistent. Rodney Scott, who is the current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, served as chief of the U.S. Border Patrol under both Obama and Biden administrations. There are plenty of people that currently work for the Trump administration that used to work under Obama or the Biden administration, and that's how it should be. That's how governments keep continuity among administrations. She's just crazy, and what's even crazier is that Donald Trump listens to her and countless other influencers. Trump's policymaking process has become systematically dependent on conservative media personalities who have no government experience, no security clearance, and no policy expertise. This creates a situation where national security decisions are influenced by conspiracy theorists and even countries that provide direct support to extremist groups that wish to harm the United States. I know this country is divided on a wide variety of topics, but can we all agree that having a president that does not base policy off the expertise of the American people it employs, but on television networks and social media influencers, does not make America great? Are you freaked out? Because I'm freaked out. I'm just hoping we make it another 2 years. Check out my video on media consolidation or my video about how Leonard Leo went to the Supreme Court.